So that's how he's going to get Bali Maharaj. X18. Yeah, just later.
Yes.
Navamo Daksha Savarnir Manur Varuna Sambhavaha Bhuta Ketu Titta Ketu Ti Adyastat Sutta Nipa. O king, the ninth Manu will be Daksha Savarni, who is born of Varuna. And among his sons will be Bhuta Ketu and Dipta Ketu. Text 19. Paramarichi Garbhadya Deva Indro Bhutasmitaha Dyutima Pramukastatra Bhavishyanti Rishayastatha. In this ninth Manvantara, the Paras and Marichi Garbhas will be among the demigods. The king of heaven, Indra, will be named Adbhuta, and Dyutiman will be among the seven sages. Text 20. Ayushmato Buddharayam Shabo Bhagavat Kala Bhavitayena Samraddham Trilokim Bhokshate Bhutha. Rishabdeva, a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will take birth from his father Ayushman and his mother Ambudara. He will enable the Indra named Adbhuta to enjoy the opulence of the three worlds. Look at the names, huh? So all the names have meanings behind it. Nowadays they will just name their children Pinky, right? Pinky and so on. Makes no sense. I was wondering, would people still name their children like that? Nowadays,
Actually, in India, there is a book, like a list of Hindu names.
Hindu.
A lot of these names are there in that.
But they won't use
No, they will use a short form. Like, for example, Amshuman becomes Ams or Ants.
Is this Rishabdev different person?
Yes.
He was also a partial incarnation. No?
Yeah, it will be the same incarnation. In terms of incarnation, same incarnation.
Person.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
same.
it's he's a living. He's
Yeah.
not a living entity.
No, the same incarnation. Text 21. Dashamo Brahma Savarnir Vashloka Suto Manu Tatsuta Bhurishenadya Avishma Pramukha Dijaha. The son of Upashloka, known as Brahma Savarni, will be the 10th Manu. Bhurishena will be among his sons, and the Brahmanas headed by Havishman will be the 7 sages. Text 22. Havishman Sukrita Satyo Jayo Murti Stada Dvijaha Swasana Viruddhadya Deva Shambhu Sureshwaraha. Havishman, Sukrita, Satya, Jaya, Murti, and others will be the 7 sages. The Suvasanas and Viruddhas will be among the demigods, and Shambhu will be the king, Indra. So you can see there's always a different Indra. Yeah. Okay. Text 23. Vishvakshena Vishushyam tu Shambho Sakyam Karishyati Jata Samsena Bhagavan Vihe Vishvashrijo Vibhu. The home of Vishvashrashta, the plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will appear from the womb of Vishuchi as the incarnation known as Vishvakshena. He will make friends with Shambhu. The previous one, text 24. Manurvai dharma savarni Ekadashama atmavan Nagatastat sutascha Satya dharma dayo dasha. In the 11th Manvantara, the Manu will be the Dharma Savarni, who will be extremely learned in spiritual knowledge. From him there will come 10 sons headed by Satya Dharma. Text 25.
Actually, can I go back to a question from text 23?
Open
Vishwakshena.
Katha
So there is one kind of puja prevalent in India. The Sri Vaishnavas, they do Vishwakshena puja before they worship Lord Vishnu. I don't know why or whether it matters.
Someone
Have you seen
knows?
that? Vishwakshena
Vishwakshena.
There
puja.
are Panchakand. There are like 5 kind of puja.
That's, yeah.
So one of them
This is Vishwakshena puja, yeah. Like a lot of Sri Vaishnavas do that. I've never understood that.
is commander.
he's commander.
Commander.
Commander?
Yeah.
Of the devas.
Of Vishnu.
Of Vishnu.
Of Vishnu. Also in Bhagavatam there is initially this verse, right? Vishwakshena Katha
Katha
Sucharna
Suya.
Utvaya Rati Ratim Shramevi Keva.
Vishwakshena Katasuya.
Not in that.
Not in that form. Okay, sorry.
Okay, text 25. Vihangama kama gama Nirvana ruchaya suraha Indrascha vaidritastesham Vishayascharanadayaha. The Vihangamas, Kamagamas, Nirvana Ruchis, and others will be the demigods. The king of the demigods, Indra, will be Vaidrita, and the 7 sages will be headed by Aruna. What gopi is that? She is very afraid. Text 26. Aryakashya sudastatra Dharmasetu iti smitaha Vaidritayam hariramsha Trilokim darayishyati. The son of Aryaka, known as Dharmasetu, a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will appear from the womb of Vaidrita, the wife of Aryaka, and will rule the 3 worlds. Text 27. Bhavita Rudra Savarni Rajandva Dashamo Manu Devavan Upadevascha Devasrishtadaya Sutaha. King, the 12th Manu, will be named Rudra Savarni. Devavan, Upadeva, and Devashrishta will be among his sons. Ritadama cha tatrindro Devascha haritadayaha Vishayascha tapomurti Tapasvi agnidrakkadayaha. In this Manvantara, the name of Indra will be Ritadama, and the demigods will be headed by the Haritas. Among the sages will be Tapomurti, Tapasvi, and Agnidraka. Text 29. Swadhamakyo harir angsaha Sadayishyati tanmano Antaram satya saha Sunritaya suto vibhuhu. From the mother named Sunrita and the father named Satya Saha will come Swadama, a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He will rule that Manvantara. Yes.
When you say partial incarnation, so what makes them partial? Can they be affected by Maya?
Not really. They are They do not exhibit the opulence like all the full avatars that come. They generally partial means they do a specific function, so they do not exhibit other potentials. Yeah, like that. So here, as a Manvantara, he'll rule like a Manvantara king, like that. So that ability to be like a king, rightful, and all that, he will display those kinds of opulences. Yeah. Text 30. Manustrayo dasho bhavyo
Manustrayo dasho bhavyo
Deva savarnir atmavan
Deva savarniraatmavan
Chitrasena vichitradya
Chitrasena vichitradya
Deva savarni dehajaha
Deva savarni dehajaha.
The 13th Manu will be named Deva Savarni and he will be very advanced in spiritual knowledge. Among his sons will be Chitrasena and Vichitra. So you'll notice so far all these Manus are qualified. Either they are qualified Jivas or they are partial incarnations of Krishna.
Is that what we say when we say that when there's no qualified person, then Krishna comes as?
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And then you can also see, unless you're qualified, you cannot be a Manu. So far, you didn't see any Manu making any nonsense. So you can understand. Only qualified personality. Text 31. Deva Sukharma Sutrama
Deva Sarva Sutrama
Samya Indro Divaspatihi
Samya Indro Divaspatihi
Nirmukha Tattva Darshadya
Nirmoha Tattva
Bhavishyanti Vishayastadha.
Bhavishyanti Vishayastada.
In the 13th Manvantara, the Sukharmas and Sutramas will be among the demigods. Divaspati will be the king of heaven, and Nirmoka and Tattva-darsha will be among the 7 sages. Text 32. Devahotrasya tanaya
Devahotrasya tanaya
Vaharta Divaspate
Vaharta Divaspate
Yogeshwaro Hari Angso
Yogeshwaro Hari Ansho
Vihatyam Sambhavishyati.
Pratyam Sambhavishyati.
Son of Devahotra, known as Yogeshwara, will appear as a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His mother's name will be Brihati. He will perform activities for the welfare of Divaspati. Text 33. Manurva Indra Savarni
Manurva Indra Savarni
Chaturdashama Ishyati
Chaturdashama Ishyati
Guru Gambhira Buddhadya
Guru Gambhira Buddhaya
Indra Savarni Vidyaya.
Indra Savarni Vidyaya.
The name of the 14th Manu will be Indra Savarni. He will have sons like Uru, Gambhira, and Buddha. Text 34. Pavitras Chakshusha Deva
Pavitras Chakshusha Deva
Suchirindro Bhavishyati
Suchirindro Bhavishyati
Agnivahu Suchi Shuddho
Agnivahu Suchi Shuddho
Magadadya Tapasvinaha.
Magadadya Tapasvinaha.
The Pavitras and Chakshushas will be among the demigods, and Suchi will be Indra, the king of heaven. Agni, Bahu, Suchi, Shuddha, Magada, and others of great austerity will be the 7 sages. Text 35. Satrayanasya tanayo
Satrayanasya tanayo
Brihadvanustadahari
Brihadvanustadahari
Vitanayam Maharaja
Vitanayam Maharaja
Priyatantum Vitayita.
Priyatantum Vitayita.
King Parikshit, in the 14th Manvantara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear from the womb of Vitana, and his father's name will be Satrayana. This incarnation will be celebrated as Brihadbanu, and he will administer spiritual activities. Text 36. Rajam Chaturdashaitani
Rajam Chaturdashaitani
Trikalanugatani te
Trikalanugatani te
Bhaktani Virmita kalpo
Proktaye kalpo
yuga sahasra paryaya.
Yugasasaravarya.
O king, I have now described to you the 14 Manus appearing in the past, present, and future. The total duration of time ruled by these Manus is 1000 Yuga cycles. This is called the Kalpa, one day of Lord Brahma. Okay. So in one day, 14 Manus will appear. Yeah. So it's only in the daytime. So night time, they all sleep. Yeah. And that also goes for 1000 cycles. Now, chapter 14, the system of universal management. So, what are the duties the Manus do? What they do?
Obligations.
The suns, the Yuga cycles, like that.
So each one will have a Manu Samhita like that
Each Manu may write a
according to time place for the
time, place, circumstances. Next one, Sri Rajavacha.
Sri Rajovacha.
Manvantareshu Bhagavan.
Manvantareshu Bhagavan.
Yathaman Vadayastu ime. Yasmin karmani yena.
Yasmin karmani yena.
Yuktastat vadasvame.
Niyuktasarvadasvame.
Maharaj Pariksha inquired, O most opulent Shukadeva Goswami, please explain to me how Manu and the others in each Manvantara are engaged in their respective duties and by whose order they are so engaged. So now you understand how Manus function because of Parikshit Maharaj's question. Shri Rishi Vacha
Shri Rushirvacha.
Manavo Manu Putrascha
Manavo Manuputrascha.
Unayascha Mahipate
Unayascha Mahipate.
Indrasura Ganaschaiva
Indrasuraschaiva.
Sarve Purusha Shashanaha.
Sarve Purushasasana.
Sukadeva Goswami said, the Manus, the sons of Manu, the great sages, the Indras and all the demigods of king are appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various incarnations such as Vyagna. Okay, so you can see it's not something someone can get, no? It's appointed. Just like in the president's cabinet, the president appoints people. You can't just go and say, I will be this. You can't. So these are all qualified living entities who have been selected by the Lord for specific reasons we may or may not understand.
just like that.
Not
But at this
yeah, okay.
very high level.
Their desire may be there, but they are more devotional, so they become qualified to help the law and the administrative function of the universe. Okay, just because we desire doesn't mean we become Brahma. No, but if you are qualified for 100 lifetimes, then you can become Lord Brahma. Yeah. Then I've heard if you are qualified for 1000 lifetimes, then you can go to Shiva Loka. Yeah. Yeah. You have to be very elevated to be with Lord Shiva, but not become Shiva.
Never become.
So, text 3. Yajnadayo ya katitaha
Yajnadayo ya katitaha.
Aurushya sanavo nipa
Aurushasya sanavo nripa.
Manavadayo jagat yatram
Manvadayo jagadyatram.
Nayantyavi prachoditaha.
Nayantyavi prachoditaha.
O king, I have already described to you various incarnations of the Lord, such as Yajna. The Manus and others are chosen by these incarnations under whose direction they conduct the universal affairs. The Manus execute the orders of Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various incarnations. So it appears that each time a Manu takes birth, an incarnation of Lord will appoint the different jivas according to their abilities. Okay, it's not some random. Even Brahma doesn't have the right. It seems to the Lord, and if Brahma says it, it is through the instruction of the Lord.
Can it happen like they have to midway change one Manu?
Huh?
Does it happen by
Impeachment.
emergency?
Well, I don't think it's impeachment. If the Manu goes back to Godhead, maybe. But otherwise, I don't think so. I
And
think
devotion, but
usually they finish their duties and then they go back. Impeachment is only in this.
Just thinking.
Or in the
Retirement.
case, even Indra, when he goes back to Godhead, another personality takes over. So
It's all appointed by Lord
it's
himself.
always appointed. Yeah,
Sometimes Indra is worried, right? Somebody might
He's
do
always
the Aswamedh Yagya and
yeah, he's always worried.
Middle word.
Because he's more worried about his position. Yeah. So that's why he's worried. But I think after undergoing Govardhan Leela, I think he may be more devotional now. Next 4. Chaturyugante kalena
Chaturyugante kalena
Rastan Shruti Gananyata
Rastan Shruti Gananyata
Sarishayo Pasyan
Tapasarishayo Pashyan
Yato Dharma Sanatanaha.
Yato Dharma Sanatana.
At the end of every 4 yugas, great saintly persons, upon seeing that the eternal occupational duties of mankind have been misused, re-establish the principles of religion. So Prabhupada then talks about Sanatana, means eternal, and Dharma means occupational duties. Basically, Dharma means your duties must connect you with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not just any duty, but the duties are guiding you to the Supreme Lord. So from Satya Yuga to Kali Yuga, the principles of religion and occupational duty gradually deteriorate. So you can see now people don't know what duty is. Right? Kali Yuga, nobody knows what. In Satya Yuga, the religious principles are observed in full without deviation. So everyone goes back to Godhead in Satya Yuga under the guidance of their kings or the saintly person. In Treta Yuga, however, these principles are somewhat neglected and only 3/4 of the religious duties continue. That means 25% goes down. The religious principles goes down a little bit, 25%. In Dwapara Yuga, only half, 50% nonsense of the religious principles continue. That means they break the religious principles. Like if you remember in Mahabharata, they like Duryodhana and his uncle Sakuni, they are always breaking principles, and they want to be kings. So Krishna says that's not compatible. To be a king, you must follow principles. They tried to poison, they tried to kill, they did all kinds of nonsense. And they even tried to take wives from other men like that. So 50% is gone in Dwapara Yuga. And in Kali Yuga, only 1/4 of religious principles, and then Prabhupada says, which gradually disappear. That means, for example, the 4 limbs of religious principles, like
Satyam Saucham Kshamataya.
Satyam, truthfulness. It's still here, but it's now degrading. Truthfulness in Kali Yuga. And then in Saucham is in the completely in the
Completely in Satya.
Satya Yuga. Then in Treta Yuga, what deteriorates?
Shama.
Austerity is deteriorates. Okay, and then in the Dwapara Yuga, cleanliness deteriorates. And in this age, everything is gone except some truthfulness.
Where is truth?
So some truthfulness still there. People, if you talk to them, they can be truthful unless they are in a difficult situation. Then they tend to lie. But as Prabhupada says, it is deteriorating. At the end of Kali Yuga, the principles of religion or the occupational duties of humanity are almost lost. That means nobody will follow anything. Indeed, in this Kali Yuga, we have passed through only 5,000 years. Yet the decline of Sanatana Dharma is very prominent. The duty of saintly persons, therefore, is to take up seriously the cause of Sanatana Dharma and try to re-establish it for the benefit of the entire human society. Then Prabhupada says, the Krishna consciousness movement has been started according to this principle. That is to re-establish religious principles. Then he quotes this verse from the 12th canto. Very famous verse. You should know, all of you. The entire Kali Yuga is full of faults. It is like an unlimited ocean of faults, but the Krishna consciousness movement is very authorized. Kirtana eva Krishna. So that's why it's very important for us. We have to be chanting. Don't abandon this. So if you can chant nicely, Kirtana Sadaha. Yeah. So you have to practice nicely.
So is there any difference between material dharma and spiritual dharma? Like we say dharma, artha, kama, moksha.
Yes.
That dharma, what is that dharma separate from spiritual dharma, which is to achieve Krishna?
They should actually both should converge. But what has happened is material dharma is I need to do my duties, but doesn't matter if Krishna is there. So then they pursue sense enjoyment. Yeah, become more karma kanda. But spiritually means you have the Lord in the center. Whatever sense enjoyment I want, it has to be through the sanction of the Lord. So it is karma kanda in some ways, but it is under the purview or the guidance of a spiritual master.
She's going to be like noisy.
Huh?
She's going to be a little noisy.
No, that's okay. We can't do much about it. Okay, then Prabhupada continues. The eternal occupation and duty of the human being is to serve Krishna. Jivera Swarupoi, Krishna Nityadas. This is the purport of Sanatan Dharma. So that is really what our duty is. Centered around that, then you do your material duty. Means how much I need. I need a house, okay, get a house. But don't, if you are two people, don't need to buy a house with 10 rooms. Right? It's meaningless. Why? You just need maybe 3 rooms. Maybe you have too much junk you want to keep in one room. Okay. But then that's why you have garage, right? Not to park your cars, to put junk. That's all I've seen in many homes, So no car, all junk. And for 20 years they'll keep the junk. And then when they're about to die, they'll say, "Don't touch my junk." Right? It's crazy. So you should be having a yearly cleaning.
Yeah.
You should go through and say, "I haven't used it for the last 5 years. Will I use it? No. Give it away or throw it away. Otherwise, it's meaningless. It keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And then, when you die, you say, "Is my wedding sari still there?" Right? Right? People talk like, "Oh, my dhoti, my special what chadar my father gave me," and all these things. Meaningless. Or my comic books, some people like comics. Or my PS3 that was bought in 2009. And I'm dying in now 2050. Is it still operational? How I liked it, what joy it gave me, So all these are yam smaran bhavan, you will get stuck in that.
Those 5 things: money, relatives,
Yes,
country, or
properties,
properties.
So don't be attached to all these things. So you have to give up. So that is what Sanatan Dharma is. Connecting with the Supreme Lord, seeing how you can actually have a relationship. Instead of having a relationship with some inanimate things, some sentimental value, which is useless, ultimately useless. You came into this world with nothing, you will go with nothing. So nehabhikrama nasusti pratyavayavam vidyate salpam abhyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhaya. So if you do devotional service, that will help you. That is more important. It will go with you to the next life. But all these material things cannot. Right? You buy a very fancy car, like a Lamborghini or what is that?
Tesla X model.
Tesla X model. You're still into Tesla. Okay, Tesla. What else?
Lamborghini.
what is that? The Porsche Carrera, right? All those fancy cars. Then you buy, you don't even want to drive because you're worried someone will scratch it. So you just park it outside your home, polish it every Sunday, and then watch it, and then go home, and the next day bring it inside. So it is ridiculous. And then even if you want to drive your sports car along the urban areas, how fast can you go? You can't even go fast. So what is the value? What is the joy? So that's why we have to become very practical. We don't need too many things in life, actually. So we shouldn't hanker for unnecessary things. Sometimes we think, I am the only one who's going to protect my family, and so I have to do all these things. But no, that's not the case like that. So be practical in your lives, have goals, but then goals must be also be meaningful. Don't have unrealistic goals. Keep it all balanced. Encourage people to be at least be decent human beings. Come to the level of a human being first. So Prabhupada says if you follow the 4 regulatory principles, then you become a human being. If you don't, then you are an animal. So if you are an animal, then you only pursue sense enjoyment. And therefore, you will do anything and everything to fulfill your senses. But if you control senses, then you become a human being. Then you will think like a human being. What does a human being think? He thinks how to connect with the Supreme Lord. So that is the difference, So you wonder sometimes why people are not interested in God, because they are animals in a human form.
Vipada Pashu.
Yeah, Dvipada Pashu, like that. So be practical, whatever we need, get what you need, but don't stock things unnecessarily. Yeah. Right? So the Prabhupada says this is the sum and substance of the Krishna consciousness movement. What is that? Jivera Swarupa Nityera Nityera. So by the time you die, you should at least know I tried to please the Lord. But if you die thinking, I haven't done this, I haven't bought the new set of things from Costco or something like that. It's on sale, I couldn't get it last time, and then you die thinking like that. You become a rat in Costco. So who knows if Costco exists or not when you come back as a rat,
Amazon warehouse.
At least in some warehouse. Yeah.
That means we should ideally not try to remember pleasant moments that we've had.
Yeah, actually that is not. It's only a temporary pleasure. Otherwise, at the time of death, you will see all those wonderful things in your life go by you. And if you attach to something, it'll stop. The movie really will stop.
Krishna says that.
Start from there again.
Krishna also says that.
Huh?
Krishna says tolerate happiness and distress.
Yeah, yes.
Tolerate happiness.
Both happiness and distress. No? You're not interested.
Tolerate.
Yeah, both you tolerate.
Nirastatra na muyati. Yeah. So you need to become sober. It doesn't matter. Happiness. You can acknowledge the Lord is kind to me. He's making this a pleasant situation. But then you can think, when is the unpleasant situation going to come? Right?
Just matter of time.
Yeah.
But what if those memories are like from some time spent with devotees?
That's different. When anything connected, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha, anything connected to Krishna is transcendental. So you can remember those wonderful things. That is fine. That means you will go back to God here. If you remember Prabhupada, your spiritual master, then you will go back to Godhead, or you will go back to a higher purpose or come back to do higher purposes connected to Krishna. All right,
Whenever
thanks.
I am in stress, I think of the Rompad Maharaj Yatra going around Govardhan Parikrama. At least I'm trying to forget this and think of Govardhan Parikrama.
So like if you are into a health fanatic, like he's saying, right? You're running. So you when you run, imagine you're going in Govardhan or Vrindavan Parikram, just think.
So at least we'll get benefit.
Yeah, you will get benefit. Yeah. So that's why when you go on yatra, you remember those places. If you can't take pictures, when you come back, you go through them and say yes. And so you don't forget. So after a week, you remember these are the ways I went through, this is what we did. Then after a month, you continuously do that. It is so fresh in your mind. I was saying, I have a god brother who is almost 90. He's almost blind. He can't even see. His vision is gone glaucoma. But every day he does Vrindavan Parikrama. So he'll say, now I'm here. If you go and talk to him, you say, yeah, how are you? I'm walking now in this path.
Every day.
Yeah, he'll say, I'm here, I'm now turning.
There's a Brahmana making the prasada. Right?
Yes.
He's in meditation. And
Yeah, he's meditating like that. So it's so nice, when you hear those things. It is doable, it's achievable, but it's a question of are you willing to practice? Not just, I've done my duty. I went to the temple for this week and that's it. Om Tat Sat. I'm going back to God. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to show that you really have the connection. So yeah, he's like, when we hear, we are like, wow. It's an inspiration. Text 5. Tato dharmam chatuspadam
Tato dharmam chatuspadam
manavo harino ditaha
manavo harinodita
yukta sancharayanti adha sri sri kale mahindripa. Thereafter, O king, the Manus being fully engaged according to the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, directly re-established the principles of occupational duty in its full 4 parts. Okay, so Prabhupada quotes how this dharma comes. It comes through the parampara. So he quotes the verse from Bhagavad Gita 4.1 to show how it's coming in the cyclic succession. Dharma is not man-made. Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavat. So remember that. Right? So Prabhupada writes here, following the same process, the Krishna consciousness movement is teaching the principles of Bhagavad Gita as it is without deviation all over the world. So Prabhupada's point is, I am not creating something new. I'm not manufacturing anything. I'm only following the previous Acharya, Guru Parampara. So this is not a concoction. This will help us. He's saying this is genuine. So it will help if you follow. If you don't follow, then you become unfortunate. So he continues, if the fortunate people of this time accept the instructions of Lord Krishna, they will certainly be happy in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So if you want to be Bhagyavan, then you have to take up the process. You cannot cry and say, I can't do this, I have headache, I have this problem. No. If you want to be fortunate, you take up the process and you become Bhagyavan, fortunate. So it is very important to know why Prabhupada is highlighting these things nicely. One of the things Prabhupada says is Mahaprabhu wanted everyone, and then he says, at least in India, to become a preacher of this mission. Yare deka tare kaha Krishna upadesh. So even if you don't know many things, you can just say something to whoever new you meet. Say, come to the temple, try, visit little bit. If you don't like it, you can go home. But if you like it, then we will continue. So you encourage them, because people are unnecessarily doing foolish things and they think they are happy. Right? They drink a glass of wine and they say, oh, that felt so good. Or they smoke a cigarette or vape and they say, oh, that was so exciting. But remember, if you drink and you smoke, when you go to hellish planet, they open your mouth, the Yamadutas and pour hot molten iron on your throat. And then you are struggling, screaming, and then you die. And then they revive you again. Yeah? Then you revive, and then they open the mouth and they do it for 100 lifetimes. Yeah. So therefore, If you take up the process, immediately you're protected. Whatever mistakes you did in past life, Krishna says, hold on, no punishment, because he's in the path, righteousness. So you have to do all these things nicely. So Prabhupada also says, in other words, one should become a guru and preach lots instructions all over the world for the peace and prosperity of humanity. You don't have to be officially a guru, you can be a Siksha guru. Whoever you guide, you are a guru. So just preach. Preaching is the, Prabhupada says, essence. Yeah. Text 6. Palayanti prajapala Yavadantam vibhagashaha Yajnabhaga bhujo deva Yecha tatranvitaschatai. To enjoy the results of sacrifices, yajnas, the rulers of the world, namely the sons and grandsons of Manu, discharge the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until the end of Manu's reign. The demigods also share the results of these sacrifices. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, in the middle of the paragraph, anyone interested in peaceful life must participate in this parampara system and perform yajnas. Not just yajna, not just sit in a fire sacrifice, you also do the Sankirtan yajna. Yajna Sankirtana praya yajanti sumenas. So we have to chant. Then Mahaprabhu becomes very pleased with us and he gives you the blessing. Prabhupada says, he will be easily satisfied if the Sankirtan movement is spread vigorously all over the world. This will also make people happy without a doubt. So it will be good fortune for you and you bring good fortune for other people. So that's what Bhagyavan means. That you bring good fortune for others and for yourself. Okay? So always try to connect people with Krishna.
I was meeting somebody at New Year's Day in the temple, and I was telling them, yeah, we have these classes, you please come join this and that. He said, I already know you. I said, I don't know you. He said, I follow your online LinkedIn profile, you keep posting something about Krishna. So you may think nobody's watching, but somebody's watching.
Somebody is watching. Yeah, so you become his guru now. Yeah. Yeah, so you that is why when you say something, if like a million people watching, don't make any foolish statements or concoct. Try your best to stick to Prabhupada's teaching. You're not there to get an Academy Award or something like that. The whole idea is to connect people with Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Text 7. Indro Bhagavata Dattam Trailokya Shriyam Urjitam Punjana Pati Lokam Strim Kamam Loke Pravarshati. Indra, king of heaven, receiving benedictions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus enjoying highly developed opulences, maintains the living entities all over the three worlds by pouring sufficient rain on all the planets. That's one of his roles. Text 8. Jnanam chanu yugam brute Hari siddha swarupadre Rishi rupa dara karma Yogam yogesha rupadre. In every yuga, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, assumes the form of Siddhas, such as Sanaka, to preach transcendental knowledge. He assumes the form of great saintly persons, such as Yajnavalkya, to teach the way of karma, and he assumes the form of great yogis, such as Dattatreya, to teach the system of mystic yoga. In the purport, Prabhupada explains how, for the benefit of human society, not only does the Lord assume the form of Manu as an incarnation to rule the universe properly, but he also assumes the forms of a teacher, yogi, jnani, and so on for the benefit of human society. Now, in the second canto, Srila Prabhupada writes how even the Lord comes in to give association to the lower forms of animal souls. When he takes the form of Matsya, Kurma, all those, Varaha, how the animals also, we have lots of association. And they make advancement. It's just fascinating when you think that the Lord is actually helping so many living entities at the same time. Like that. So it is not just for human society, but for all his creation, he tries to help. And then Prabhupada writes, the duty of human society, therefore, is to accept the path of action enunciated by the Supreme Lord. That means you must take up the process. You cannot keep putting it off. Because one day you can die, right? Or one day your spiritual master can die and you haven't taken shelter of him. Then what to do? We can only try. Yeah. Okay. And finally, Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is so kind and merciful to human society that he is always anxious to take the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead. Text 9. Sargam Prajesha Rupena
Sargam Prajesha Rupena
Dasyun Hanya Swarat Vapu
Dasyun Hanya Swarat Vapu
Kala Rupena Sarvesham
Kala Rupena Sarvesham
Abhavaya Pritak Gunaha
Abhavaya Pritak Gunaha.
In the form of Prajapati Marichi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead creates progeny. Becoming the king, he kills the thieves and rogues, and in the form of time, he annihilates everything. All the different qualities of material existence should be understood to be qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We've gone through this many times, so text 10. Stuyamano janarebe
Suryamano janarebe
Mayaya nama rupaya
Maya nama rupaya
Vimohitadma virnana
Vimohita virnana
Darshanena cha drishyate.
Darshanena cha drishyate.
People in general are bewildered by the illusory energy and therefore they try to find the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through various types of research and philosophical speculation. Nonetheless, they are unable to see the Supreme Lord. So it's very important to understand that here Sukadeva Goswami is saying is people try on their own, but they don't go through the Guru Parampara. They're just trying on their own and they come up with their own speculation, and then they come up with their own qualification to be a guru, right? Many years ago, there was one lady, she had 2 sons. So she was openly telling in India that one of the son is God. So after a while, that son fell in love with some girl. So then she got angry, So then she said, he's no more God. This other son is God now. And the people who are there following her also change.
Now this is good.
Now this is God. So it is like changing your commitment, So it's like voting, I like this president, I vote for him. No, I don't like him, I vote for the other guy. So they think even God, you vote.
So there was this Kalki Balwan.
Yeah.
He appointed 7 of his students, 7 of his students to be commanders or something like that. And they all fell away. And then he said, I took away all the powers. They're not anymore commanders.
He took away their
They're not
powers.
anymore commanders.
Where in Chennai, there is one Kalki Bhagwan in Chennai.
It's Andhra Kalki.
Actually, there are 3 Kalkis right now. They are competing with each other. One in Bihar also.
It's all weird. What someone say, they all went to court case and
Yeah.
accused
That
each
is
other.
Andhra Kalki.
Oh,
Who is bona fide?
who is the bona fide girl?
They're fighting in the
And they need a material jurisdiction to say who is God.
But people follow it. That is the weird thing.
Yeah, because Prabhupada says this inability is due to the illusory energy of the Supreme. It's
One
so
of our own
powerful.
devotee, his sister, fell into that trap. And then the devotee went and said, no, you don't fall in this trap. If you want, follow Prabhupada's rules.
Yes. That's why it's important. No? So Prabhupada continues, devotees therefore accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is and remain happy simply by chanting the glories of the Lord. The process is simple. We make it difficult. We don't want to surrender, we create our own Kalkis or Vishnu or, what is that in Varshana Dham in Texas, Austin. So this guy, what's his Kripalu's disciple, and he claims to be Mahavishnu. Kripalu is Krishna, and Mahavishnu is in Texas, Austin. And then he had another disciple, and he says he was Shirodakasha Vishnu. So they,
They follow a lot of
And then-
Gaudi,
So Texas is a fortunate place. So what happened is this Mahavishnu messed around with some of these Western ladies. They made a complaint, so the FBI all came, did an investigation. So they wanted them to come to court case. So then the Lord, ran away to Mexico.
This is Leela.
So they could, and then they found he had 10 all those big cars,
In Mexico again?
I think so. They haven't caught him.
There is another controversy.
And then wait, let me finish. So his spiritual master Kripalu is a big follower. He's got a big place outside of the no, in the
Austin, Texas.
Vrindavan itself. It's big property. He's
Rename the
built.
road.
Yeah, Prem Mandir they call it. And then he's God, right? You know how he died?
In the bathroom, he slipped and
He
fell
took
down.
the shower and then he fell down and hit his head and died.
Oh,
Yeah, I was in Vrindavan at that time. The news came out.
which year is it?
Kripalu, about 5-6
5
years
years
ago,
precisely.
he slipped in bathroom and died.
So that's
He claimed
Jesus
as
God.
And they wanted to rename that Bhakti Vedanta Swami Marg in the name of Kripalu Maharaj. They actually were almost successful, and there was a big uproar, and the devotees went and stopped the whole thing, and then they retained the name.
Oh, they want to change our.
Yeah, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Marg,
It's
and
not
they
ours,
renamed
but
them.
the-
And they-
And outside of Varsana, he constructed a temple,
Yes.
and he didn't finish it, and then he died. Then he was going to put himself and Radha's picture, some nonsense like that.
Yeah, he was. He actually, if you look, he copied everything Prabhupada did.
Yeah.
He calls himself International Society for Divine Love. So everything he copied, but he's just rascal. So this is what I mean. They all concoct, and people like that. But when we tell them please chant nicely, they don't want to do.
Because we don't charge for mantra also, right? We give free.
I think the main reason is that people are not aware of the scriptures. That's what they get.
Yeah, it's just that they're unfortunate.
Not enough preaching.
If you practice nicely, you can create good fortune for others. So when you meet people, and if you are following strictly, you have that Shakti. But if you don't, and you also have concocted notions, then it's very hard to preach. So we should have good standard, and we should also be happy practicing. Right? If you are unhappy, Hare Krishna, so who wants to join us? Right? They say you guys also not happy. What are you talking? So finally, text 11. Etat kalpa vikalpasya pramanam parikirtitam yatra manvantarani ahus Saturdasha Puravida. In one kalpa, or one day of Brahma, there take place the many changes called vikalpas, O king, all of these have been previously described to you by me. Learned scholars who know the past, present, and future have ascertained that in one day of Brahma there are 14 Manus. Again, he re-emphasized. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 8th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The System of Universal Management.
This centennial?
Yeah.
No, the translation, learned scholars who know the past, present, and future.
Hmm.
It is by ascertainment, not a definite say there are 14 models. Somebody said.
Not a definite?
It's not definite say there are 14. They are
Oh,
ascertained.
It's a certain.
It looks like something you have to discover there are 14.
Yes.
Interesting.
There are very few personalities who know the past and future. Right?
Yes.
There were not many.
Yeah, not all of them. But there are some, yeah. Not all of them. Just like when the demigods go, they go to Brahma because Brahma can see past, present, and future. It's not like they always see past and present and future. But if they want to meditate, Lord allows them to see the past, present, and future. So there are some very powerful demigods or saints who are learned scholars who can see. Like I forgot the name. Devala Muni and all, they can see past, present. Narada Muni. Like that. Okay, so you want to stop here?
No, I think we have time.
We have time?
We'll continue.
We can.
Okay. Huh?
45.
We can go half an hour more.
Okay. Chapter 15. Bali Maharaj conquers the heavenly planets. So, remember when Sukadev Goswami was saying how Bali Maharaj becomes the king? So he wants to know, now Parikshit Maharaj wants to know how the Lord took all the wealth and the land from him by taking 3 paces. So therefore he wants to know. Text 1 and 2. Sri Rajo Vacha
Shri Rajo Vacha
Bale Padatrayam Bhume
Bale Padatrayam Bhume
Asmadarir Ayachata
Kasmadayacharacha
Bhuteshwara Kripanaval
Bhuteshwara Kripanaval
Labdhartopi Dvabandhatam
Labdhartopi Vabandhatam
Eta Veditum Ichamo
Eta Veditum Ichamo
Mahad Kautuhalam Hinaha
Mahad Kautuhalam Hinaha
Yajneshwarasya Purnasya
Yajneshwarasya Purnasya
Bandhanam Chapi Anagasaha.
Bandhanam Jayanagasasa.
Maharaj Parikshit inquired, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything. Why did he beg 3 paces of land from Bali Maharaj like a poor man? And when he got the gift for which he had begged, why did he nonetheless arrest Bali Maharaj? I'm very much anxious to know the mystery of these contradictions. That's glorious, right? Just like the sages in Naimisharanya forest, they also asked Sutta Goswami. Munayo sadhu pristaham bhavadvi loka mangalam. So he says, if all your questions are good, because bhavadvi loka mangalam, it brings so much auspiciousness to the entire universe. Just simply hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord. So in the same way, he is asking for our benediction. Text 3. Shri Shuka Vacha
Shri Shuka Vacha
Parajita Shri Asubhischa Hapito
Parajita Shri Asubhischa Hapito
Indrena Rajan Brigubhi Sajivita
Indrena Rajan Brigubhi Sajivita
Sarvatmanatan Abhajat Brigun Bali
Sarvatmanatan Abhajat Brigun Bali
Shishyo Mahatma Nivedanena
Shishyo Mahatma Nivedanena.
Sukadev Goswami said, O king, when Bali Maharaj lost all his opulence and died in the fight, Sukracharya, a descendant of Bhrigu Muni, brought him back to life. Because of this, the great soul Bali Maharaj became a disciple of Sukracharya and began to serve him with great faith, offering everything he had. So he was doing the service nicely, serving the Guru nicely. Text 4. Tam Brahmana Brigava Priyamana
Tam Brahmana Brahmana
Aya Jayan Vishwajita Trinakam Vidi Samanam Vidina Vishishya
Samanam Vidina Vishishya
Mahabhishekena Mahanubhavaha.
Mahabhishekena Mahanubhavaha.
The Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu Muni were very pleased with Bali Maharaj, who desired to conquer the kingdom of Indra. Therefore, after purifying him and properly bathing him according to regulative principles, they engaged him in performing the yagna known as Visvajit. So he pleased so he can get some reward here. And what he wanted was to conquer Indra. So then they are so powerful. These sages are so powerful, they can actually perform a yagna to get rid of Indra. So this yagna was Vishwajit, to be successful in conquering. Text 5. Tato rata kanchana pattanaddo ayascha haryashvaturanga varnaha Dvajascha sinhena virajamano Utashanad asaha virvirishtat. When ghee, clarified butter, was offered in the fire of sacrifice, there appeared from the fire a celestial chariot covered with gold and silk. There also appeared yellow horses like those of Indra and a flag marked with a lion. It's like amazing, no? When we do yagna, we only get smoke. We are not that qualified, but these are so powerful brahmanas, and they can invoke. Really powerful. So we should appreciate them, and even if they make mistakes, we shouldn't look down on them because they are very qualified personalities. We should rather appreciate what they can do, and we should be very humble. What we do here is nothing. We write. Most of you guys only write quotes. So these people can create things. Yeah.
So it looks like that previously Shukracharya was not his guru, but after he brings him to life, then he becomes his
It appears that way.
Mobilized.
Yeah. Maybe he became more like a disciple.
So, but he's generally in charge the guru
demons.
of the demons.
Yes.
Shukracharya.
Just like even in our situations, as the guru is there, not everyone takes shelter of the guru. So here you can think he probably went and took really good shelter, taking care of the ashram, cleaning, buying stuff for him, preparation. So all of them became very pleased with him. Right? That is why it's important to do service. Not that, yes, I'm guru and, okay, you stay there, I stay here. No, you have to go and perform service, then you get the blessing. So you see, Bali Maharaj is getting his blessings. And what a blessing, huh? Text 6. Danuscha divyam purutopanadam Puna varikto kavacham cha divyam Pitamahastasya dadau cha malam Amlana pushpam jalajam cha shukraha A gilded bow, 2 quavers of infallible arrows, and celestial armor also appeared. Bali Maharaj's grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, offered Bali a garland of flowers that would never fade. And Sukracharya gave him a conch shell. It's amazing, yeah? When Prahlad Maharaj is giving his blessings, go forward and conquer. One can question that Prahlad Maharaj is a pure devotee of Mahajan. Why is he doing that, right? So obviously Bali Maharaj must be a qualified person for him to give him blessings like that. So again, don't underestimate these personalities. They are much better than all of us put together. Text 7. Evam saviprajita yodanartas.
Evam saviprajitayodanartas.
Sai kalpita swasya yanota vipran.
Daikalpita swasya yanotapran.
Dakshini kritya krita pranamaha.
Pradakshini kritya pranamaha.
Radhamamantriya namaschakara. When Maharaj Bali had thus performed the special ritualistic ceremony advised by the Brahmanas and had received by their grace the equipment for fighting, he circumambulated the Brahmanas and offered them obeisances. He also saluted Prahlad Maharaj and offered obeisances to him. So he respected everyone properly. Huh?
So he does all the things that a devotee does, and yet he's classified as
As a demon, because asuras means they don't accept
Vishnu.
Vishnu. But they follow everything. They even have Vedas and everything. But they come to the conclusion that there's no God.
But is it the same Vedas that Devas have access? But
Same Vedas.
They are so durlabham, so they
Yeah.
cannot access.
Yeah. Come on, they are all descendants of Bhrigu Muni. So the Brahmanas know. But they are more inclined for Artha. Kama and Artha.
But that's not the case with Bali Maharaj. Right? That's not the case with Bali Maharaj.
No, he's more. He's advanced. Spiritually, he's advanced.
So nowadays demons don't even do the Vedic sacrifices.
No.
So how are they getting Artha then?
From previous lives. Yeah. And maybe they give donations sometimes. So they get some benedictions.
So somebody gives donation to an ISKCON temple, and
Yes.
all of a sudden they get so much benefit.
Yes. Don't think it has no power. Giving to the deities all, you never know how it comes back. You give $10, they get 10 million next life. Like that. You never know.
interest will be.
No, it's a rule, right? In the scripture, whatever you give comes back multiplied. Huh? Yeah. Text 8 and 9. Atharuya ratam divyam. Brigudattam maharataha. Susrabdarota sanahaya. Danvi khadgi drite shudihi. Hemangada lasad bahu. Spuran makara kundalaha. Rajaratam marutho. Tishnyasta iva havyavad. Then, after getting on the chariot given by Sukracharya, Bali Maharaj, decorated with a nice garland, put protective armor on his body, equipped himself with a bow, and took up a sword and a quiver of arrows. When he sat down on the seat of the chariot, his arms decorated with golden bangles and his ears with sapphire earrings, he shone like a worshipable fire. There is a painting, ISKCON painting, right? Where he is in full armor. I don't know if you have it in the new books or not, but there is a painting of him coming, wearing all the armor. And I thought that was really amazing. Text 10 and 11. Tulyaisvarya balastri Swayuta daitya yutapaye Vadvi nivakam drigbir Dahadvi paridim niva Vrito vikashan mahatim Asurindvajinim vibhu Yayau Indrapurim Sridam Kampayanni Varodasi. When he assembled with his own soldiers and the demon chiefs, who were equal to him in strength, opulence, and beauty, they appeared as if they would swallow the sky and burn all directions with their vision. After thus gathering the demoniac soldiers, Bali Maharaj departed for the opulent capital of Indra. Indeed, he seemed to make the entire surface of the world tremble. Very powerful. Once he defeated Indra. Text 12. Ramyam Bhavanodyanai
Ramyam Bhavanodyanai
Srimadve Nandanadibihi
Srimadve Nandanadibihi
Ujadvihanga Mitunair
Ujadvihanga Mitunair
Gayan Matta Madhubratai
Gayan Matta Madhubratai
Navala Phala Pushporu
Navala Phala Pushporu
Vara Shakamara Drumai
Arashara Drumai.
King Indra's city was full of pleasing orchards and gardens, such as the Nandana garden. Because of the weight of the flowers, leaves, and fruit, the branches of the eternally existing trees were bending down. The gardens were visited by pairs of chirping birds and singing bees. The entire atmosphere was celestial. There. Show them. The Bali Maharaj wearing full armor. It should be. I saw it. I've seen it before. Nice.
Shukracharya and Prahlad Maharaj.
Yeah. Giving here in the book.
Yeah.
It should be in the book, no?
It is not there in the book.
It's not in that book.
Yeah. The only Bali Maharaj being tied by the ropes of Varuna is there.
Oh, okay. That's after. Text 13. Hamsa Sarasa Chakrava
Hamsa Sarasa Chakrava
Arandava Kula Kulaha
Arandava Kula Kulaha
Alinyo Yatra Kridanti
Alinyo Yatra Kridanti
Pramada Surasevitaha
Pramada Surasevitaha.
Beautiful women protected by the demigods spotted in the gardens, which had lotus ponds full of swans, cranes, chakravakas, and ducks. Text 14. Akasha Gangaya Devya
Gangaya Devya
Vritam Parikha Bhutaya
Vritam Parikha Bhutaya
Prakaranyagni Varnena
Prakaranyagni Varnena
Sattale Nonnatena Cha
Sattale Nonnatena Cha.
The city was surrounded by trenches full of Ganges water known as Akasha Ganga, and by a high wall which was the color of fire. Upon this wall were parapets for fighting. So you can say Ganges doesn't just come to our planet, but it's coming from outside the universe. So from there it flows to Brahmaloka all the way down to our planet and then goes even to the lower planet, Patala Loka.
Even before Vamana Dev pierced the covering of the universe, it's still flowing.
It's flowing. But it manifests after it. Just a bit. So this is known as Akasha Ganga. Then there's other Gangas also, right? Krishna had made one Ganga. What Ganga was that?
In that pond.
What was
Manasi Ganga.
Manasi Ganga. And then you have the normal Ganga. Text 15.
And then we have Radhapur where Ganga is also there.
Yes. Text 15. Rukma Patta Kapataischa
Rukma Patta Kapataischa
Varai Spatika Gopurai
Varai Spatika Gopurai
Justam Vivakta Prapattam
Justam Vivakta Prapattam
Vishwakarma Vinirmitam
Vishwakarma Vinirmitam.
Doors were made of solid gold plates, and the gates were of excellent marble. These were linked by various public roads. The entire city had been constructed by Vishwakarma. So he's the architect and the builder of the demigods. Very, very amazing architect. So here also people are trying to make doors of gold and so on. But
They don't need to enter. They
paint it. No? Here we paint it with gold. That is solid gold. And here the marble is excellent. Here we have not so good marble. No? Second class, third class marble. Okay. Text 16. Sabha Chadvara Ratyadyam
Sabhajatvaratyadhyam
Vimananya Budayutam
Vimanena Udayaditam
Singatakai Mani Mayer
Sringatakai Manimayai
Vajra Vidruma Vedibihi.
Vajravidrumavedibhihi
The city was full of courtyards, white roads, assembly houses, and not less than 100 million airplanes. So many airplanes.
ATC.
Boeing makes what 90 a month.
Yeah, but remember, this is heavenly planet. 100 million airplanes. That means it's like everyone has a Segway for themselves.
It's like
Yeah, just get on it and they fly from one place to another. The crossroads were made of pearl, and there were sitting places made of diamond and coral. Just amazing. No? Coral is like pinkish or reddish color, and then diamond is like glassy, and then the pearls are whitish. So it's beautiful. Very
Actually, if you
beautiful.
go to Dwarka even now, the vendors are selling corals
Mm.
on these streets. So we can multiply that by many times to
Well,
see how.
yeah,
real coral.
the coral there is a million times better. They are all polluted.
Artificial.
These are not
Yeah,
but
real
they're
corals
very
are
small,
sweet.
right? Not the same opulence.
Like
Yeah,
there's
the
a ci-
opulence won't be there.
there's a city in Miami called Coral Gables.
Mm.
So its entire city is made up of coral stones.
Mm.
So whenever I lived for there 5-6 years, when I used to pass, it reminded me of Dwarka, like at least to some fragment,
Yeah.
everything is made up of corals.
Something,
The
yeah.
entire city is made up of
That's
coral
true.
stones.
Houses, coral.
Yeah, everything from even school, everything is coral stones. Coral Gables,
Coral.
Miami.
Okay, Google it. Text
Coral
17.
Gables. Yeah.
Yatra Nityavayo Rupa
Yatra Nityavayopah
Shyama Viraja Vasasaha
Shama Virajasasah
Rajante Rupavan Naryo
Rajante Rupavanaryo
Yachirbir Iva Vanayaha
Yajirivavayah
Everlastingly beautiful and youthful women, so they don't grow old, who were dressed with clean garments, glittered in the city like fires with flames. They all possess the quality of Shama. So beautiful women and youthful. They remain young all the time until they have to give up their body. That means they don't die; they just fall. So when they fall, the demigods, when they fall down, they come down in the rain. So in the rain, and then they fall into the ground, and then they grow in a plant or rice or some grain, either animal or human eats, and then they go into the semen, and then they take birth in a human family or an animal family. Okay. Text 18. Sura Sri Kesha Vibrashta
Surasiyesha Viprasta
Nava Saugandhika Srajam
Navasogandhikasvajam
Yatra Modam Upadaya
Yatra Modam Padaya
Margavati Marutaha
Margavati Marutah
Breezes blowing in the streets of the city bore the fragrance of the flowers falling from the hair of the women of the demigods. It is also said that the ladies and the men from the upper planetary, their body is fragrant.
Perspiration.
So when they dip in the water becomes fragrant. So we dip, the water has to be thrown away. It's contaminated. But theirs is like they purify it. So it is just an amazing place, no pollution, it's all fragrant. Of flowers. So nice. It's very sattvic. Text 19. Hemajalaksha nirgacha
Hemalaksha Nirgacha
Rumena Guru Gandhina
Gumena Guruvandina
Pandurena Pratichanna
Pandurena Pratichanna
Marge Yanti Surapriyaha
Mariyanti Surapriya
Apsaras passed on the streets, which were covered with the white, fragrant smoke of aguru, incense emanating from windows with golden filigree. I think those kinds of
curves and a design.
This like shiny things, like in the windows you put like that, filigree. Text 20. Mukta vitane manihema ketubhe
Mukta vidane manihema ketubhe
nana padaka valabibi avritam
Nana pataka valabhiravam
Shikandi para vatabringanaditam
Shikhandi paravatavrikkanaditam
Vaimanika Sri Kalagita Mangalam.
Vaimanika Sri Kalagita Mangalam.
The city was shaded by canopies decorated with pearls, and the domes of the palaces had flags of pearl and gold. The city always resounded with the vibrations of peacocks, pigeons, and bees. And above the city flew airplanes full of beautiful women who constantly chanted auspicious songs that were very pleasing to the ear. So they usually were chanting Vedic mantras, glorifying the Supreme Lord like that. They are not allowed to sing cinema songs. Otherwise, they get punished or cursed by the demigods, the leading demigods. Yeah. Text 21. Mridanga Sanka Nakadundu Biswanai Satala Vina Murjesta Venubi Nirtyai Savadhyai Ubadeva Gita Kair Manoramam Swaprabhaya Jita Prabham The city was filled with the sounds of mridanga, conch shells, cattle drums, flutes, and well-tuned stringed instruments, all playing in concert. There was constant dancing, and the Gandharvas sang. The combined beauty of Indrapuri defeated beauty personified. So, description of Indra's city, Indrapuri. It is. If you look at the, what is that? The
South.
mandala, right? You can see in the locations. So these Gandharvas are all known as Upadevas. They're not full Devatas, but they're still Devatas, but not completely on the higher Devatas. They're known as, Prabhupada writes, secondary demigods. Alright, so I think we'll stop here. We'll have lunch and we can start in an hour. Right, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.